many so-called gurus in this world to squeeze money from disciples, but a bona fide guru who can remove the drawbacks and sufferings of disciples is very rare. So we're going to continue reading from Essays on Guru Tattva, the Ontology of the Spiritual Master, by Srila B.A. Maharaj. We already read what is the qualification. According to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this morning I found a very nice shloka in one of the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He sings Kadiya, Kadiya Mane, Amito Adama, Shikaye Sharanagati, Kare He Utama. I'm crying and crying because I'm the most fallen of the fallen. By your good divine instruction, please lead me to the highest stage of devotion. So the devotees, they are generally found in the mood of prayer. They're actually crying. Crying for love, crying for devotion, crying for service, crying for good engagement, good association. That is very, very beautiful. At the same time, they are facing the reality of this world. And the duality of this world is such that very rarely do you find a very, very sweet relationship between people. When you find it, you should be surprised. Wow, this is a real sweet relationship. Because jealousy, fighting, competition, laziness, opportunistic thinking and doing things, it is quite common, if not to say almost all-pervading. So to live together and work together and coordinate together, all the things, it only works well when there's selflessness. When there's selfishness, then there will be definitely some obstacles. So now we read the next chapter here, Characteristics of a bona fide guru. If we want quality, we cannot get quantity. If we are keen to increase quantity, we shall have to sacrifice quality. What is a bona fide guru? What is the characteristics of a bona fide guru? Prabhupada Muni's instruction in regard to this. Tasmad gurum prapatyata yikyasu shreya uttamam shabde pare chanishnatam brahmanya upashamashrayam. Therefore, inquiry from Gurudev about the best eternal welfare with complete submission to him. A bona fide guru is endowed with two special qualities. He is well versed in authentic scriptures and he has realization of divinity. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21. So, I can only stress again and again, we are so fortunate to be under the guidance of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Also, we have met many other great devotees, undoubtedly. And there may be so many great devotees who we have not realized their greatness because they have such a simple demeanor. They behave like they're nobody. Always ready to do service, always trying to touch your feet, things like that. So, in a way, this is to really find out the great pure souls, not always easy, but we have to also go by the saying, Phalena parichiyate. Where is the real essence spreading? Where is this real Vaishnava community coming into existence? Where is the real service compassionate service to help the other people manifesting? Like a pure devotee doesn't have a sticker or anything, hey, pure devotee. It's not that way. Pure devotee will never say he's a pure devotee. Even the gurus, they don't think they're gurus. So who is it, who is it not? We have to find out by who gets others to become devotees, who gets others to do service, who coordinates practical service with others in such a way that they will be enthusiastic to study the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to put it into action. So, you know a tree by its fruits, that's also said. What kind of fruits a tree is giving, you should know. This is a neem tree. That's a different fruit than a mango tree. But both of them are very valuable in their own way, but by the fruits we shall tell. And in one way, our Gurudeva said, by the way you see how much preaching is expanded from a person, how many devotees are made, how many people start chanting Hare Krishna, that is a very good indicator that there is some realization, that there's some trust, there's some faith, some enthusiasm. So therefore, this was a quotation here given by Prabhuda Muni. This is actually one of the shlokas very often quoted. Tasmat guru patyeta yigyasu shreya uttamam shabde pare chanishnatam pramanya upashamashrayam. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary to this verse, explained the characteristics of a bona fide guru. Gurudev should be well versed in the Vedas and other allied scriptures. An aspirant disciple cannot progress in his worship of God without taking shelter of a truly qualified bona fide guru, who should have the capacity of removing the doubts of disciples by reasoning substantiated with evidence from authentic scripture. If Gurudeva is incapable of removing the doubts of the disciple's belief in him may slacken. The second characteristic of Gurudeva is that he should have realization of the divinity. Only by theoretical knowledge of the scriptures, without having practical realization, the spiritual guide cannot give proper advice and direction in accordance with the eligibility of the disciple. By the instruction of a guru, possessing the quality of practical realization, the disciple can have actual spiritual progress. It is to be considered here that the disciple can have the capacity to comprehend spiritual knowledge of Guru Dev by hearing from him, but how can a disciple understand whether Guru Deva has got realization of divinity or not? The Supreme Lord is transcendental reality. His absolute counterpart, Guru Deva, is also transcendental. Therefore, a neophyte votary cannot understand Guru Dev's realization of divinity by his own endeavors. There are two aspects of the Supreme Lord and his absolute counterpart, Guru Dev. One, morphological aspects, and two, ontological aspects. Conditioned souls can, by their mind, intelligence, and sense organs, should be diverted towards desire to serve Sri Krishna. Anger should be used against those who are hostile to the devotees. Greed should be employed to increase the desire to hear Harikatha from bona fide sadhu. Infatuation should be about not being able to utilize the valuable time of this precious human birth for worship of Sri Krishna up till now, and madness should be after singing the glories of Sri Krishna. What a beautiful description, no? This is Kama Esha, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, these incredible detrimental effects in this world. When it says Kama for selfish pleasure, Krodha because you're angry, because you feel offended by something which may create an obstacle for your plans or satisfaction. Lobha, greediness for having more and more. But instead of that, you become greedy, that we expand Krishna consciousness and we want to hear more from the sadhus and we want to become very committed and have our temple the cleanest temple of all, and the visitors attended with the most greatest affection, etc. Or moha, that is, one should become infatuation, to not be able to use the human form of life, makes you like feeling mad. I cannot tolerate it. And then finally, mada, or madness, that we are mad to chant the holy name. We want to sing the kirtan. Like when Gurudeva Tulananda sings the whole night. This is some kind of madness, but it's such a greed to keep on chanting. You know, that is the way we can understand that there's a real push there, something inside. It is essential for the devotee to submit to Gurudev wholeheartedly with words, mind, sense organs and everything for realization of divinity. Evidence from Mundaka Shriti. Pariksha Lokan Karma Chitan Brahmano Nirvedamayam Nashtya Krita Kritena Tad Vigyanartam Sagurum Evabhigached Samit Panishrutriyam Brahmanishtam. This is another classical verse which is spoken in reference to Gurudeva. Tad Vigyanartam Sagurum Evabhigached Samit Panishrutriyam Brahmanishtam. A Brahmin should have the knowledge that the fruits of karma are non-eternal and that eternal reality cannot be attained by karma. As such, a Brahmin has no attachment to karma, and therefore he takes absolute shelter at the lotus feet of a bona fide guru, Mundakya, Shriti. Two characteristics of a bona fide guru are mentioned in Mundaka: Shriti, Shrotriyam, and Brahmanishtam. Interpretation of the word Shrotriyam, well versed in Shriti Shastras, the Vedas and other allied scriptures, and two, blessed with by the descent of the divine knowledge through preceptorial channel. Brahmanishtam means firmly fixed in Brahman. But these are so beautiful descriptions. They give us such a wonderful feeling. At the same time, we have to consider that the Guru Tattva is such a vast and living thing. Guru Mata, Guru Pita, the father and mother, the first gurus, our teachers are gurus, our brahmanas are guru. There's the Kula Guru, the family guru, who guides the family in doing all the rituals. In India, it's very common that people have Kula Gurus. And then the guru who is getting you identified. I want to serve Krishna. I want to live a devotional monastic life. And then doing service without thinking only I, me, mine, I, me, mine. So these things are vast guidance. Therefore it says in the Vedas, I don't remember where, somewhere, that you can have, or you should have one Diksha Guru, but you may have many Shiksha Gurus. So those who inspire you, who get you more committed to your devotional service, and who may give you practical ideas also, and who may guide you by their realizations. Once Srila B.A. Maharaj was asked, how do I know who's the most important of my gurus? And then he said, the one who helps you the most to actually get to the lotus feet of Krishna. He is your most important guru. How do you know? You know when you reach the lotus feet of Krishna. Only then you know that. Who were the gurus along my way? Like we have so many. Like I remember once a girl, she was from Peru and she was doing some temple president service in emergency in Villavicencio in Colombia. So she was there, the young girl was there, and she was not even 20 years old, but she had long time devotional experience before. And she was giving lectures, and college professors were coming and listening to her lectures. And when I saw that, I was so blown away by the surprise, how a young girl having college professors coming to her classes and being attached to her words, how she explains this. So, of course, we've seen that in the Vedic history, that sometimes very young people, like Shukadeva Goswami, they instruct very old people. So the divine knowledge is definitely not depending on age. It is not depending on externals. It is all depending on internals, the internal transmission. And we are getting and wishing to get this internal transmission. And also we may not forget that Sri Paramatma is Chaitya Guru, who is always there, who is actually filling the gaps. Sri Paramatma, he will make you understand what you have to understand when you cannot otherwise understand. But sometimes the Guru is there, he may explain everything, all your doubts are removed. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes we have to internally further deepen our inquiry. So, therefore it says, Brahmanda Brahmite Guna Bhagyavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prashade by Bhakti Lota Beach. By the Chaitya Guru, we get the Guru. And by the help of the Chaitya Guru and the Guru, we get the lotus feet of Krishna. So in this way, here we have the ontology of the spiritual master, and it is a whole science, because the divine qualities of the devotee is that he is really a teacher. Basically, we have been taught to preach from the very first day we joined Krishna consciousness. I remember I joined at 9 o'clock at night in the temple, and at 11 o'clock next day, I was out on Sankirtan. There wasn't even 24 hours which had passed. And I was asked at that time to give some leaflets to people and to ask for a donation. So first I was shocked by the idea of asking people for a donation. But then I was told that if people give a 1 penny for Krishna, their spiritual life starts. So that is, otherwise they spend their money nonsense. So if you ask them, please give something for Krishna, then you're doing the best thing for them. So I could understand that. So I started giving out, first day on Sankirtan, giving out leaflets and asking them, please can you donate for our temple? And people were very surprised. A young man is asking you for a donation for a temple. And it turned out that they were quite generous, and I had a nice collection in the end of the day. So people thought, oh, he's a good Sankirtan. He's a good potential book distributor. At this time, we had not one book in Germany. We only had a leaflet. It was a very old beginning, the early days. Anyhow, nowadays we have so much literature, we cannot even imagine books of all sizes and all pictures and extensive writings of our child. Anyhow, So the idea that you instruct others, that is shiksha. So I was a shiksha guru the first day on Sankirtan, because I told people, give something. Give something to Krishna. I got it, and I didn't keep it for myself, I gave it to the temple. So this gesture, give me, Guru, Krishna, temple, this movement, that makes you a bona fide guru, a bona fide shiksha guru, because it's clear, it's no lie. You give me, I give Krishna. So in this way we become engaged in devotional service from the first day. And this is bona fide because it is blessed. It's not speculative, it is not, and it's not that behind there's a guru who is taking all the money and then buying himself in his own name some real estate or something. No, that cannot be. Then it's bogus. If the energy which comes from the people is not actually to please Krishna, then it's not bona fide. So that criteria of being a bona fide servant of the divine is by what you say is coming from above, and what you get is going to above. That makes the bona fide transaction. Even so much that a person who has had difficulties, like when we come, like all the Vaishnavacharyas, they're always in a crying mood, or I have no realization, I'm not a devotee. Like yesterday I spoke to one very nice guru, new guru. His name is Nishkinchana Maharaj. He just has a few disciples. And this Nishkinchana Maharaj, I said, I'm so happy to meet another one of our Gaudiya Vaishnava spiritual masters. He said, me? I cannot even be a disciple. He said, what to speak of being a guru? But he does have some people now following him. So it's a transaction. It is a very loving and very deep transaction, but altogether, Acharyamam Vijaniyam. Krishna is the guru himself. Krishna is the guru himself, and he also has to look himself after it. He has to look and he has to make sure that somehow or other this whole thing works. And if something doesn't work, he has to enter in action, remove somebody, put another one, whatever. Spiritual life. Relevant. Of course, there's so many beautiful instructions here. We thank Srila Bhakti Ballabh Maharaj for making this beautiful recompilation on Guru Tattva, which is very enlivening. After we read Sri Guru and His Grace of Srila Bhakti Sridhar Maharaj, we had so much enthusiasm. That means when I read Sri Guru and His Grace, I could understand so many things. Vaishnava family, which we started, the Vrinda family. Both Harijan Maharaj and myself, feeling ourselves totally unqualified, decided if we are not going to start this family now, this Krishna consciousness process here in Colombia will be affected, will be lost. And so we didn't want that to happen, so we started to accept the weight on our shoulders, which Srila Bhakti Rakshira Maharaj gave us some relief to continue the mission of Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Shri Hari, Jai Shri Krishna. Any questions?
Can I have a off-topic
Yes,
question?
please.
I wanted to ask if it is okay to pray for somebody not to make a bad decision. I mean really like bad decision without any question, like for example taking drugs or something. Is it okay to pray for that because we're more or less tampering with the free will of the person? Is that okay, or does it have any meaning? Because
Absolutely, yes. Devotees always pray for the whole world. Takes the example of Vasudeva Datta. He said to Krishna, you please give all the sinful reactions of all the living beings to me. I will suffer for them eternally. I don't care. You take everybody back to home, back to God. I cannot tolerate to see their sufferings. So the Vaishnavas, they're like this. They're always praying for the welfare of the world. Their compassionate efforts to go out on distribution or giving class or whatever they do, giving prasadam to people, is only meant for one thing, to encourage people, go to the lotus feet of Krishna. Don't waste your time in this human form of life for just nonsense, sense gratification, vanity and all that stuff. Use it for something useful. You are an eternal soul belonging to the Lord. And stop all this nonsense, drugs and all that. This is just crazy. It will never make you happy. And by doing so and by praying so, it is actually very effective. When we pray for somebody specifically, it's also effective. And his free will not be. Sometimes my mind tells me that I should pray to leave this world really fast and be able to continue somewhere else in my service. But immediately comes to my mind, this prayer is not proper. You should rather pray, Krishna, use me as you wish to use me in this lifetime, because this life belongs to you. So I shouldn't push you with any personal agenda or request. That sequence of thought has come to me a few times in my life. Any other question?
¿Cómo podemos fortalecernos cada día mejor, que podamos ayudar a aquellas personas que necesitan de la vida espiritual?
First of all, we have to become the most qualified. Even though we are not very qualified, we have to become qualified. We have to qualify ourselves. The more qualified we are, the better we can help others. The more knowledgeable doctor you are, the more you can understand the disease of the patient and properly help him. If you're a doctor ignorant of diseases, then you cannot really help very much. So the guru subject and the guru topic and the guru tattva is really as such that we all need to be gurus. The very nature of the transaction is that we need to be gurus. It's not that we want to because we want to be recognized as a guru for God's sake. No, we are aspiring to be recognized as a disciple of our guru. That is the only thing we really wish to be recognized. So, but at the same time, the need of the transaction is there. Therefore, Guru Mata, Guru Pita, father and mother, they must be like gurus because they are the only things baby have. If the baby doesn't get the guidance from the parents, then it becomes confused from the beginning. And I had to find my spiritual master because my father, mother, guru, they didn't give me that certainty and that security on the spiritual path. So I wanted to get the real thing, and therefore I had to go out and find a guru. And thanks God, I found Prabhupada. Because I was looking at other gurus before. I was looking at Omkarananda, I was looking at Ramakrishna. I never met any like Maharishi, Mahesh Yogi, I never met them, but I was contemplating, I was looking what's on the guru market, what is there, and really, and I actually joined one Sri Aurobindo Guru's ashram, and it was not fulfilling at all. So finally, great thanks to Prabhupada, he came and rescued me from that search and put me in the position where I was with Prabhupada. and Prabhupada's movement. Which has manifested in so many ways. Now in our way it has manifested in our Vrinda family. What more? Any other question? No? Okay, then we end here. Srila Prabhupada ki
Yes.
jai.
Yeah.